question about creating a radius finish on doors and windows. So we already see that the trim is off and we're just seeing the wall coverings, or rather the wall skins, turn in. What we want is this wall skin to have a radius to it. So I'm going to walk through how I might do that. First thing I'm going to do is drag a copy of that wall over here and explode that. That's under Edit, Reshape, and Explode. I have a keyboard shortcut for that. I'm not going to keep the original elements. All I need are these two fills. They're cut fills. They're going to be the same building material as the wall. It's going to allow me to quickly generate a custom profile for this. The next step is within the window settings. I want to turn those skins off so that I'm replacing those skins with a beam or a column. So in here now, I'm going to go to my wall opening settings, or rather the wall enclosure settings, and we're going to take the outside surface and uncheck and turn 0 skins. So now I can see that these fills here can easily be used to replace those fills here with a beam. These are already building materials. I'm going to cut those out from this view. And I'm going to go into Options, Complex Profiles, Profile Manager. We'll create a new profile here, and I'll call this Radius Stucco Finish. We'll edit that profile. We'll grab all of this and delete it. We don't need it. We'll paste those fills back in here. And grab those fills. Let's go ahead and put a boundary pen on it. Ideally, I would match the pen that's being used at the wall settings. For now, we'll just leave it as is. And I'm going to put this on that corner right there for now. I can grab this corner using my pet palette, and we could say that this has a radius of, let's start at 3/4 inches. That seems to be good. We want this to be applied to beams and columns, and we'll say save. We'll remove all the modifiers. We don't need those. And okay, so now I've got that and that. I might also want to have additional snap points so that I can make sure that it's all lined up. So I'm just going to drop snap points in everywhere I may need them. Something like that. And save that. Double check that these are in fact, let's see, we'll set this to other and finish. That's going to be critical for partial structure display and integration with the wall. Now we'll close out of this and save that profile. And here now I can go to my column tool, just drop a column in and apply this profile to it. Let's go ahead and check our cut fill overrides for the floor plan settings here. We don't need that. Override cut fills. Project it with overhead will probably work okay. And then it might actually be a renovation status issue. So if we come in here, and let's just check our classifications and properties. Yep, and we'll set this to new. That should match there. Looks like maybe we've got some weird incorporation with the wall here, so we might need to play around with that just a little bit more. But that does give me that radius there. If we look at the column settings, let's make sure that we're not interacting with the wall. We might actually need to bump up the building materials, because what you see here is that the sheathing fill is running through, the core building materials running through. So it might not be able to be the same building material for this to interact with the wall. Let's go ahead and edit this one more time. And if we grab this, and let's just change this to concrete. Something like that. And save. We should be able to see that stucco come through now. And we can apply a surface override for that to work. Looks like that didn't work. Let's try this. Options and building materials. This will give us an idea of what building materials are on that. So here I can see I've got wood framing. That's my core at 750. My stucco is at 545. So let's create a new building material here. We'll call this stucco heavy and compare that to the wood framing, which is 750. We'll put this at 751. And let's do the same thing here. We'll create a duplicate of the plywood, and we'll call this plywood heavy, and put that core at 751. Now if we come back into the column right here, we'll edit that and we'll use those building materials. So there's our stucco heavy. Here's our plywood heavy. So they look like the same fill. It might create a line right there, but they should be using the same surface. So in elevation 3D, it should be pretty clean. So we'll go ahead and save that and close out. We should see that a little bit better here. There we go. So now we've got that column right there. Let's go ahead and delete out this piece, and we will mirror that across. That gives us this piece. And now if we grab a beam and let's apply that profile to the beam, something like that. And we would need to also adjust that beam's plan fill. So come into the beam settings here under floor plan and section. Let's see, cover fill. Let's go background fill. We'll make the foreground white and the background transparent. Always hide axis. Yeah, that should work. So there, that gives us that. Now let's go into the 3D view of this. We'll go ahead and put a marquee around this. Oh, I'm on the wrong side of the wall. There we go. So there is that radius right there. And it's just a matter of adjusting the columns to the correct height. So we pull that to the sill right here. I drop this. Pull my head trim down to here. Same thing on this guy. It looks like I can apply a surface override to the wall as well, and it should. Like I said, the building materials might be different, but the surfaces should be identical. So if we say on the reference line side of this wall that we're using stucco white, that should clean up there. Oh, maybe that's a different stucco. Let's check that in the building materials. Stucco white heavy is using stucco white new. So if that surface matches here, then we should get clean. There we go. Wait for it to think about that for a second. Yeah, then we get a pretty clean elevation. Now with these overlapping like this, that kind of cleans up nicely. Yeah, you can actually see that's the beam and that's the actual wall. So we're not seeing the line in between at all. We're seeing the line where the radius starts. So if you want to clean this up a little bit more thoroughly, you don't need to, but you can take this beam, and if you click on the reference line, you can say that the end angle of this is a 45. We can do the same thing with the column here. End angle is a 45. And then we get that nice tidy miter. Not that you're ever going to see that in any view whatsoever, but that would be sort of the culmination of wrapping this detail up. So There is a way that you can create these custom trims. It's just a matter of turning the trim off or the return off or whatever setting you are using and creating a custom um, profile with beams and columns. And you can easily model up any level of detail that you need for these doors and windows.